You're really a useless guy. That's what you get for being a high school graduate. My boss, who always looked down on me like that, suddenly invited me to a group date one day. I knew it. He probably wanted to bring me, his useless subordinate, to serve as a foil. As expected, I didn't have any luck at the group date. As I was absent-mindedly drinking alone, only the group CEO's daughter among the participants looked at my face and eagerly asked me questions. What's your name, age, and hometown? I was flustered by the sudden barrage of questions, but I managed to answer. Then she stared at my face and asked in a trembling voice, "Why are you still alive?" My name is Mark. I'm an office worker working for a large corporation with over 3,000 employees. Since it's a big company, the benefits are substantial, and of course, I have no complaints about my salary. By the way, I haven't had a girlfriend for the past few years and haven't had any frivolous affairs, but I feel that I'm living a highly satisfying life. However, there was one big worry. It was that my boss was a jerk. My boss, Tyler, apparently joined this company with the promise of a bright, elite education. Having graduated from a prestigious school that every American knows about, he has strong confidence in his abilities and is particularly prideful. He constantly berates me, calling me useless. Mark is really useless. I can't believe you got into this company with that level of ability. At least make us some coffee so we can work more easily. That's about the only way you can be useful. I wanted to retort that I was surprised someone like him could become a department head. However, I didn't want to stir up trouble unnecessarily, so I never spoke my true feelings. I understand. I apologize for causing you trouble, Mr. Tyler. By the way, Tyler is now the department head, but apparently he didn't have many opportunities for promotion for a while after joining the company. When people started whispering that he was finished, for some reason, he suddenly started rising through the ranks at a rapid pace. I was still at a different company at the time, so I didn't actually see it happen. I was secretly told about it by a colleague. People and his superiors must have been deceived by his superficial charm. Speaking of which, regarding the previous projects, I've decided to take charge of it, so you don't have to do anything. What? But that's a project I've been working on from scratch. It's because I can't leave it to you. You'll probably give in and apologize as soon as the deal looks shaky, right? That kind of attitude will make them look down on us. It's a matter of the company's reputation. If you understand, step back and go make some coffee. This is how I spend my days, not being given any significant work and being relegated to serving tea. At this rate, I'm afraid I'll become better at making delicious coffee and finding suitable snacks than at sales skills. Another day, while I was organizing documents, Tyler called for me. I walked to the department head's desk with heavy footsteps and was presented with an unexpected proposal. You said you don't have a girlfriend, right? No, I don't. Why are you asking me that, Mr. Tyler? We had a cancellation for today's group date. It's a pretty good group of people, and it'll be a problem if someone is absent. So, Mark, you're participating too. I think I'll just get in the way and make things worse. Don't say that. The women attending are quite impressive, so it's not a bad deal for you either. Ugh, what a pain. I'll definitely be used as a foil to make him look better. But if I refuse, it'll be even more troublesome later on. What should I do? Tyler must have sensed that I wasn't responding because I intended to refuse. He threw out a threatening line to seal the deal. Just so you know, you're aware that I have strong connections in the HR department, right? You know what I'm trying to say. Honestly, it would be a problem if I got fired now, so I reluctantly nodded. I understand. I'll participate if you think I'll suffice. Good. That's all I wanted to discuss. Hurry up and get back to work. Tyler gestured for me to return to my desk as if shooing me away. I desperately held back a sigh, nodded, and returned to my desk. The group date Tyler invited me to was quite extravagant. The venue wasn't a cheap pub, but a private room in a high-class restaurant. The tablecloth was pure white without a single wrinkle, and the room was decorated with beautiful chandeliers and Western paintings, truly deserving of being called luxurious and gorgeous. The gender ratio was exactly 7-7, and both the women and men had confident expressions. After the drinks were served, we took turns introducing ourselves, starting from the top seat. From the greetings, it seemed that both the women and men were employees of major foreign companies or high earners. As expected, Tyler instructed me to sit in the lowest seat, so my turn was near the end. Finally, my turn came around. As I stood up to give a brief self-introduction, Tyler said, "That's everyone, right? Well then, let's all enjoy ourselves today." At that moment, I realized that I was truly just there to make up the numbers and had no right to speak in this setting. Actually, I didn't mind since I was only invited to fill a spot. When I sat back down, the woman in front of Tyler spoke up. "There's still one person left. What's your name?" I never expected the daughter of the CEO, who leads the Nevins Group, that our company is a subsidiary of, to say such a thing. I was surprised that she was even at a group date, considering she likely had a fiance, and I thought she wouldn't even notice me. "Huh? I stammered, caught off guard by the unexpected development. Tyler must have sensed trouble because he quickly stood up, looked at me, and said, "He's my subordinate, nicknamed Wallflower Wally. As I mentioned earlier, my colleague who was supposed to come fell ill, so he's here as a substitute. Unfortunately, all the competent ones already had plans. Since he's a subordinate who can't get ahead, please don't pay him much attention." I couldn't even force a wry smile at the excessively tasteless nickname. However, if the atmosphere remained subdued, I would be the one bearing the brunt of Tyler's frustration tomorrow and beyond. I had no choice but to go along with Tyler's words. "Yes, I'm honored just to be able to participate in this gathering. I'm grateful for Mr. Tyler's generosity in inviting someone like me. I respect him even more now. Everyone, please don't mind me and enjoy yourselves." I spouted out words that I thought Tyler would want to hear. Honestly, I've never had an ounce of gratitude or respect for him. I probably never will in my entire life. Still, this is the position I'm expected to take tonight. I don't intend to get friendly with anyone here anyway, so I might as well play along to pass the time. Mr. Tyler is my reliable boss who puts up with an inexperienced guy like me. For 2 hours, I desperately squeezed out words to praise Tyler, thoroughly humble myself, and act as his foil. I don't know if it had any effect, but he hit it off with the receptionist from a client company. That settles that. Well done, Mark. I didn't know you could be this useful. I'll praise you for today. I'm honored. I hope things go well with that person. It's a piece of cake for me. I'll prepare a wedding gift. Life at the company was nothing but pleasant from the next day onward. Tyler stopped harassing me, and I gradually started being allowed to do my own work. After a month of comfortably engaging in work like that, a company-wide anniversary party was held with mandatory attendance. The standing party at a grand hotel ballroom was attended not only by employees, but also by invited guests from other companies. They were all important clients. At the venue, I wasn't harassed or ordered around by Tyler. I silently stood by the wall, savoring the food I had put on my plate. As expected of a high-class hotel, every dish was exquisite. Especially the steak grilled by the chef right in front of us was so delicious that I wanted to eat as many slices as possible. As I quietly enjoyed the food without talking to anyone, someone called out to me from behind, "Long time no see. Thanks for the other day at the dinner party." I turned around and saw a woman wearing a pink dress. It was the daughter of the Nevins Group's CEO who had asked for my name at the group date. "I've been searching for you since that day to ask for your real name. The one Mr. Tyler mentioned was a fake, right?" It was an unpleasant joke. A name is a precious thing given by parents to each individual. I found myself faltering. "And if you don't mind, could you also tell me your age and hometown? Why do you want to know so much about me? There's no reason for you, the group CEO's daughter, to pay attention to a lowly employee like me. I've been searching for a certain gentleman for a long time. I feel that you closely resemble him. So please let me confirm." "But I can't. I can't tell you. Why can't I ask for your name? If there are any circumstances, please let me know." Saying that, she pressed closer to me. Unable to escape, I was in a bind when the situation became even more troublesome. Tyler, with slightly unsteady footsteps, came over to me. He was probably quite drunk. The woman frowned slightly at the sight of Tyler. "Hey Mark, what are you doing? Hanging out with a pretty girl?" "Wait, the Nevins Group's daughter. She's out of your league, Mark." "Mark? That can't be true, right? Is it really you? You're really alive. Why didn't you tell me your name until now? My name was finally exposed. About that, well, I can explain. Hey, don't ignore me, you two. Who do you think you are, Mark? Mr. Tyler, calm down. There's nothing going on between us. Right? Let's step outside and get some fresh air. What are you talking about, huh? I wanted to give her an explanation or justification, but for now, dealing with my drunk boss took priority. I didn't want to get involved in any more troublesome situations. Normally, I would be cursing him out in my mind, but today, I knew his glorious life as a department head was coming to an end, so taking care of him wasn't too much of a hassle. Rather, I was grateful for the excuse to get away from her. As I was thinking that while supporting Tyler, my name was suddenly called from the stage where the guest of honor was giving a speech. Mark, please come up here. The one who called me was Charles, the CEO of the company where Tyler and I work. Among the mostly suit-clad participants, his voice, wearing a black tuxedo, resounded clearly throughout the venue via the microphone. I can't believe he's announcing it so boldly in front of everyone. He's merciless, that Charles. The CEO called for you? I sat Tyler down in a chair, nodded to the still bewildered-looking group CEO's daughter, and headed towards the stage. Please wait. Mark, we're not done talking. I stopped her before going on stage as she tried to follow me. I'm sorry. I'll explain properly later. Right now. You'll definitely explain, right? Yes. Of course. Leaving those words behind, I climbed the stairs, and the gazes that had been fixed on CEO Charles all focused on me at once. I stood next to the CEO and spoke softly so as not to be picked up by the microphone. I wasn't told anything about making this so public, you know? We have solid evidence. It's good for informing the employees all at once, so there's no problem, right? I've already explained it to our invited clients, so you can rest assured. I see. You're always like this. Sorry about that. Well then, I'm counting on you. Yeah, I got it. So let me introduce him again to everyone. This is Mark. He's a skilled programmer. I personally scouted and asked to conduct an internal investigation. Actually, there had been some suspicious activity around our systems for a while. I had requested him to identify the cause and culprit. Given the microphone, I took out my company's smartphone and reported the investigation results. A screen appeared behind me, displaying a large PowerPoint presentation summarizing the investigation. Upon investigation, as the CEO suspected, it was found that various confidential information and securely stored data were being leaked to other companies. The recipients were major rival corporations. This data was not something that outsiders could easily access. In other words, there is a spy within the company. Suddenly, the employees in the hall began to whisper. The reaction was natural, I thought. The reason I ended up taking on this job from CEO Charles started with a certain connection, going back several decades. As a young boy playing with my parents in the park, I encountered a slightly younger girl chasing after a straw hat blown away by the wind. This girl was Lily, the group CEO's daughter at the time. Seeing her leave the park, I followed her without telling my parents. When I noticed a car approaching, I dashed into the road and instinctively pushed her out of the way. I was struck hard by the car that was driving without slowing down on the one-way street. As I heard my parents' screams and the girl sobbing, I lost consciousness. Fortunately, I didn't die and regained consciousness. However, since it was difficult to fully recover from my injuries with the medical treatment available in the US at the time, my parents traced their connections with relatives in China and had me receive treatment overseas. From then on, our family began living in China. I was young, and I don't know more about the accident than what my parents told me. So when CEO Charles contacted me, I was more bewildered than surprised. A few years later, an American man came to see me while I was working in China. Nice to meet you. I'm Charles. I run a certain company in America. The business card he presented had the name of a well-known company belonging to one of America's large conglomerates, the Nevins Group, along with the title of CEO. Why would someone like you come to see me? What business do you have? Currently, we have a spy in our company, but the investigation hasn't been progressing well. They seem to be quite formidable. I'd like to ask for your cooperation in an internal investigation, as you're a skilled programmer. Of course, I'll provide ample compensation. There are plenty of programmers more skilled than me, so it doesn't have to be me. You could even go to a specialized company that's strong in digital matters. As I tried to decline, CEO Charles thought for a bit and then began to reveal something. Actually, that's not the only reason I came to see you. I have an older brother, you see. His family feels a great debt of gratitude towards you. I have no idea what you're talking about. His name is Chris, and his daughter's name is Lily, the girl you saved from the accident more than a decade ago. My brother and his family wanted to express their gratitude to you, Mark, and your family. But Lily was young, and at the time, my brother and his wife were on an overseas business trip they couldn't return from, so their response was delayed. By the time they returned to America, they had lost track of your whereabouts. It was after I went overseas for treatment? He nodded. My brother's family has always regretted letting you nearly die, especially Lily, who has been constantly worrying about it. But I happened to meet you by chance, and when I learned that you had the perfect skills for the person I was looking for, I felt it was somewhat destined. But what does that have to do with this request? Don't tell me you're trying to arrange jobs for me as a way to repay the favor from back then? To be blunt, that's just none of his business. I'm satisfied with my current job. No, that's not it. I strongly trust you, Mark, as a person who jumped in to save my niece that day, more than any outside technology or company. That's why I want to entrust this important job to you. Would you please accept it? I was taken aback when he begged me. Having someone of a much higher status than me beg me made me feel quite uneasy. I understand what you're saying. Accepting this would mean leaving China, so please give me some time. I'll give you a definite answer in a week. I understand. Thank you for considering my impolite request and for saving my niece. I'm very grateful. That day, I promptly consulted with my parents about meeting CEO Charles. After discussing with them and thoroughly thinking it over, I decided to accept this undercover investigation job. I'll take on the investigation, but please allow me to set one condition. Feel free to say anything. Please don't reveal to her or your brother that I'm the Mark who saved her that day. If that's okay, I'll return to America with you. Why do you want to hide it? They want to meet you. I think it would be beneficial for you too. That's exactly why I don't like it. I'm not going there to take advantage of them or to hold a favor over their heads. He looked disappointed, but readily accepted my proposal. After that, I went back to America accompanied by CEO Charles. I successfully infiltrated the company as a lowly employee. At the sudden accusation of a spy, everyone who had been enjoying the party fell silent. Then they began whispering to their colleagues next to them in low voices. Of course, we've also identified who the spy is. We have enough evidence that they can't make excuses. I shifted my gaze to the wall where I had been until just now. Tyler seemed to be sobering up, his eyes wide open, staring at the stage. The perpetrator is Tyler, the department head of the 4th Sales Department. He was an enthusiastic employee who actively took on negotiations and other tasks that his subordinates should have been responsible for, and he proactively communicated with clients. However, this was not out of enthusiasm for the company, but to boost his own performance. As you can see, he has been selectively deleting message records with only a few specific companies each time. We have already verified that information has been leaked to the companies whose message logs were deleted. By the way, do you have those deleted logs? Of course, they have all been restored. What's displayed on the screen are the message exchanges. He was likely able to secure the department head position because he had obtained several large deals in exchange for providing this information. The timing of the information leaks coincides with his rise in performance. Furthermore, his superiors never suspected him due to his superficially pleasant personality, and it was a meticulous plan that even took appearances into account. During my time working as his subordinate under the pretext of an undercover investigation, I have recorded all the treatment I received and the unreasonable demands I was subjected to. There are also accusations from employees who were previously mistreated by him. We won't disclose them here, but they will all be included in the documents submitted to CEO Charles and the upper management, so please review them later. Well then, Tyler, do you have any rebuttal? As the CEO said that, A spotlight mercilessly illuminated Tyler, as if it had been planned in advance. Damn it! Unable to stay there any longer, Tyler ran out of the venue. For a moment, I panicked, thinking I had let him escape, but then I remembered. Mr. Charles is no fool. If he had prepared such an elaborate performance, there must be fearsome security guards lying in wait outside the door. He is truly someone you don't want to make an enemy of. Well, I apologize for interrupting everyone's enjoyable time. With this, we have finally resolved a major issue we were dealing with. Please feel free to fully enjoy our company's anniversary party after this. I followed him as he descended from the stage with one hand raised, looking amused. The moment I stepped down, fatigue suddenly hit me, as I wasn't used to being stared at by so many people. I had simply completed the job I was assigned and reported on it, but getting a little payback on Tyler left me feeling refreshed. Mr. Mark, Uncle Charles, may I have a moment of your time? The CO and I looked at each other when she said that. That's right, Lily, let's talk with Mark in the other room. He instructed his secretary, who was nearby, that he would be leaving, and then guided us to a separate room. In that room, the noise from the party couldn't be heard. My heightened emotions quickly regained calmness. The three of us sat at a table, surrounded by champagne brought by an employee. Well, where should we start? Uncle, is this person really the Mark from back then? Without a doubt? Yes, he is, without a doubt, the boy who saved you long ago, Lily. Let me reintroduce myself. I'm Mark. When I was working as a programmer in China, I met Mr. Charles and took on the investigation of this company. I'm Lily. I apologize for the delay in properly introducing myself, and thank you so much for saving me that day. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you were safe, Lily. I said that, putting on the best smile I could manage. Mr. Charles explained the circumstances of how I ended up crossing the ocean after the accident. She listened to the story without interjecting. Because of my carelessness that day, I caused you to suffer a serious injury. This sin will never disappear. I am truly sorry. If given the opportunity, I would like to apologize to your parents and family as well. Please don't dwell on it so much. I'm alive and well, and my injuries have fully healed. I'm not angry at all, and you don't need to feel responsible anymore. But I heard from Mr. Charles about how much you and your family have felt sorry for me all this time. I talked to my parents before leaving, and for our family, that alone is enough. Please don't worry about it anymore. It's true that I experienced pain and even wandered between life and death for a while. My parents cried many times, seeing me in a pitiful state, and there were times when I found the rehabilitation and living in an unfamiliar China difficult. Nevertheless, I am grateful for that accident now. I don't think I would have gone to China if it weren't for that incident. But it was because I went to China for the surgery that I was able to see and learn about a different world outside of America from a young age. That's why, rather than painful memories, I feel gratitude towards that accident. So when you apologize over and over again, it's painful for me too. Am I allowed to be forgiven? The person directly involved, me, is saying it's okay, you know? If anyone else tries to blame you or your family for this, I will resist with all my might. I'm sorry, and thank you so much. She burst into tears, shedding large drops. I was about to say, don't cry, but Mr. Charles stopped me with his hand. I'm sorry I couldn't keep my initial promise to you. It's all right. I'm sure you didn't anticipate all of this, Mr. Charles, from my participation in the group date to the accusation on stage. Of course not. Since it's been exposed like this, would you be willing to meet my brother and his wife once? You're the only one who can free them from their past guilt. Only if you don't mind, of course. I understand. Please let me know a convenient date soon. I need to make plans to return to China as well. I have worked there too. What? You're going back? Going back? What are you talking about? The company you used to work for and ours have already established a partnership. I've already informed the CEO there, so please stay with us until things settle down a bit. If you're as talented as you are, you're welcome to stay with our company for life, you know? This person is truly too thorough in his preparations. I looked up at the ceiling, conveying a sense of surrender, unable to say anything. Later, I met her parents and received their apologies and words of gratitude. Realizing that I didn't hold a grudge against them, the two of them smiled with faint tears in the corners of their eyes, knowing that I was doing well. After that, I started communicating with her frequently. That being said, I rarely initiate contact. She is the daughter of the group CEO, and I am just an employee. I am aware of our positions. However, I frequently receive what seems to be advances from her, such as, "Mr. Mark, do you have any plans for this weekend? If you're free, how about having dinner together? And if it's all right with you, may I call you Mark from now on? Of course, you can call me Lily." Furthermore, there was an incident when we went out for a meal the other day. I didn't know that the dinner party the other day was an event where men and women gather to seek relationships. Then what did you think it was, Lily? I heard from my friend that it was an information exchange meeting. I felt that the conversation was a bit strange, but I thought it was because I was naive about the world. She always teases me like that. Lily said that with slightly flushed cheeks, perhaps remembering that moment. It seems she has a mischievous close friend. You have a wonderful fiance, don't you, Lily? Your friend knew that and probably thought you wouldn't fall for a strange man, so she intended it as a little prank. Surely. Did you participate in seeking a partner, Mr. Mark? I was just there to make up the numbers. If I had to say, it was for the delicious food. So does that mean you have a significant other? I haven't had a girlfriend in years. When I was over there, work was the most enjoyable for me, and since coming to America, I've been too busy to even think about that. In other words, can I consider that I still have a chance? A chance? No, what? I don't have a fiance. You're the only one who has captured my heart and won't let go since that day. She even said something that was almost a confession. And once I became aware of that, I was in trouble, as I gradually started to see her as a romantic interest. A few months after this incident, I was formally proposed to by her. While I was hesitating due to the difference in our social standings, she had already taken the lead. Of course, I didn't refuse her offer, and we happily became a couple. Tyler was dismissed with disciplinary action after the information leak was discovered. According to rumors I heard from my colleagues, he was apparently dumped by the woman he met at the group date. I still work for Mr. Charles' company to this day. At the same time, I occasionally help out with work at my previous company, leading busy days. Now that I've become a candidate for the next CEO who will marry into Lily's family, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I did a half-hearted job. My life, both private and professional, is filled with hope and fulfillment.